What's up YouTube? Miko here and we're back with another video, baby. Let's go. Before we get to the video, just want to remind you guys, we are giving away a custom controller at 1,000 YouTube subs. I'm not sure if we're going to go Battle Beaver or Scuf yet. Haven't quite decided, but at 1,000 subs, we're going to give it away to the community. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys showing love. So do me a favor, scroll down below. If we are under 1,000 subs, we have not given away this controller yet. If we happen to be above 1,000, and you still enjoy the content, I would appreciate you subscribing with notifications on, because we are going to give away more goodies as the channel continues to grow. I appreciate you guys so much for the love and support. In today's video, I did a thing. Okay, I didn't know I would do it, but I did it anyway. Okay, we bought ourselves an Elite 2 controller. Okay, so what we're going to be going over today is number one, I'm going to share with you why I went with the Elite 2 controller for now. Number two, I'm going to share with you my updated controller settings and the way I configured it for Halo, both the controller settings as well as the Halo settings. Finally, I'm going to share with you how to overclock your controller so you can maximize your controller's performance right out of the box. Alrighty, so first off, this by no means is going to be like an unboxing video or even a full-on review. There's plenty of videos explaining to you all the individual features of the Elite 2 controller, and there's plenty of reviews out there as well. But first, let me share with you why I went with the Elite 2. Number one is the Elite 1 had horrendous reviews, and then the first run of the Elite 2 had not so great reviews. Better, but not so great. Then I heard that Microsoft upped the quality control in the factory when it comes to the Elite 2 production. I'm not going to be going over all the features, but there's a couple of features that I wanted to try out in a controller. These are features that if you are a competitive FPS gamer and you're interested in a controller with paddles, there's a couple of features that I keep an eye out for, or that I was researching and I wanted in my controller that you should keep an eye out for as well. The first thing is paddles. The controller I was using previously was a PS4 controller with a back button attachment. There's two paddles in the back. It's a Sony attachment. I'll pop up a picture right here so you guys can see it. You can get them on Amazon and stuff. It's actually pretty inexpensive. So if you have a PS4 controller and you want to try a couple of paddles, it works great. You know, the only thing is I claw with my right hand, and having to claw and it's a pretty thick paddle. So my hand was just in uncomfortable positions, and my hand started to hurt after long gaming sessions. Feature number one that I wanted was really flush paddles, or one reason why I was looking so heavily into the Battle Beaver is because they use back buttons, not paddles. So I'm like, man, if there were buttons, it would sit obviously super flush with the handles or with the grips of the controller, and it would make it a lot easier on my hand. Feature number one is these paddles. If you see these paddles, these things are sitting so flush to the grip. You can see that right there. So they fit really, really nicely when I try to, you know, as I wrap my hands around the controller to hold it. Number two is thumbstick tension. One cool thing about this controller is it comes with multiple thumbsticks. So it actually comes with a tall thumbstick, which is pretty cool. And you can swap out all these attachments. It's just literally a magnet. Boom, easy. So one, taller thumbsticks, but you can get Control Freak, so that's not that big of a deal. But what's really cool about this controller is that on the sticks, you can adjust the tension. So on your aim stick, typically higher tension means more control. And if you were to go Battle Beaver or Scuf, you can customize the tension, but once you set it, you're done. That's it. You can't adjust it. However, this controller comes with this nifty little tool where all you got to do is remove the thumbstick, and then here you can actually turn this key, and there's three different tension settings. There's low, medium, and then high tension. On my right stick, I have it all the way up. On my left stick, I have it all the way down. And feature number three that was really cool, if you guys look right above the paddle here, it's kind of hard to see, I think, but there's like a little switch. Okay, oh yeah, this guy right here, right above the paddle. Okay, if you move it all the way up, if you move this guy all the way up, the controller recesses all the way. If you set it to the center, the middle setting, the trigger will recess about halfway. And something that's really helpful for shooters especially is if you move it all the way down, you have a really short trigger. In my couple hours using it so far, it's been amazing. So I have both left and right trigger on the shortest setting. But those three features in particular is what I wanted to test out for a custom controller for myself. This Elite 2 controller allows you to change all that stuff and test it and see if you like everything. Plus, on different games, if you're playing, if you're someone who plays multiple different games, you don't have to keep all your settings. Like if I got hair triggers on a custom controller and I wanted to play a racing game, I want to be able to have the full throw. And with this controller, I just switch the setting from the short trigger to the full trigger, and boom, I'm ready. I'm ready to play another game. That's the reason why, and not to mention that this thing, especially on the holiday sale, was like half the price of a custom controller. Probably do a follow-up review, a few months after I beat the crap out of this thing and play with it a lot, and then hopefully share with you guys what my experience has been. If you're looking for a good entry level into a premium or a custom controller, even this might be a great fit. In terms of the design and the theory behind this controller, man, they killed it. All right, so now I'm going to go over the way I configured my Elite 2 controller and updated controller settings. I made a video on how to perfect your controller settings and sensitivity in Halo Infinite. I'll link that down below. If you're new to Halo Infinite or if you haven't quite optimized your settings yet, watch that video. It'll help a lot, hopefully. So it comes with 4 paddles. I have 2 on the left, and I actually removed 1 on the right. Okay, so this is my right side. I claw on my right, and I usually just hit Y with my claw hand, and sometimes X depending on the situation, because I have one of my paddles set to X. And then my right paddle is my crouch and slide. My top button is now my jump. I used to play bumper jumper, so I've been having to get used to that. My top button is now jump, which I hit with my middle finger. And then the left bottom is X. I almost said square. I'm so used to PlayStation. Is X, which is the reload, grab weapons, things like that. I'm still messing with this. I think I might add the 4th paddle back so I can use it to ping. So now I'll hop into the settings, and I'll share with you a couple of things that I changed around. All right, guys, one thing I forgot to mention earlier is you can download the Xbox Accessories app on your PC to customize the mapping and customize other things like the sensitivity curve. It's actually pretty in-depth, but for whatever reason, the Microsoft Store isn't letting me download it, so I'm just like, I'll figure it out later. It's not, whatever. The way I have it configured actually works out perfectly so far. So here we're in the Halo Infinite sensitivity setting, or controller settings. A couple of things that I changed, and I didn't mention this in the video, in the video I linked below, but under accessibility, you can actually change the opacity and the thickness of your reticle. I crank these bad boys up. It makes the reticle stand out more. It's probably a personal preference, but I just feel like I'm more consistent with it. So mess with this, see if you like it. So far, I like it a lot. So back to the controller settings. I think in the video linked below, in the original controller setting video, my Excel was at 3. I dropped it down to 2. And then my sends is 6.6. Some people play with a little bit of a higher vertical sends. I messed with it a little bit. I couldn't get used to it, so I decided to just keep it the way it is, the way I like it. At the end of the day, sensitivity settings are all about comfort and what you prefer. There's a reason why every pro has different settings, because it's just whatever works for them. Doesn't mean you can't test things out. Like I said, I tested out the higher vertical sends. I just didn't really like it. 0.8 sends on the 1.4. This is something I changed early. I might try to go back to 1, but I'm not gonna mess with that right now. My move stick, I dropped the dead zone, axial and center down to 0, and the max input threshold down to 0. So I have a little bit of stick drift in my left stick. So if I'm not moving, or if I'm not physically moving my stick, my character is kind of drifting a little bit. But with my move stick in this game in particular, I'm not too worried about having those slight movements. You're always moving anyway. The reason why I dropped these all the way down is because it'll make having these all 0 make your left stick as responsive as possible. So when you're strafing, you can really hit those quick strafes. So if you have stick drift, typically you want to move it up a little bit until the stick drift goes away. But again, for a move stick in this game, I want to be able to slap it around and strafe really fast. This is the best way to do it. The max input threshold. So if you have this higher, basically what they're saying is it accelerates slower. And if you have it all the way down, it accelerates faster. Again, with strafing, you want to have as quick of back and forth as possible, especially in Halo. So I just changed this the other day. So far, I like it a lot, but we'll continue to test it and see what works best. And I'll keep you guys in the loop. My look stick, my dead zones are at 2. Basically, I mentioned this again in the controller settings video down, linked below. But basically, your dead zone, you want it as low as possible where you don't have stick drift. You do not want stick drift on your aim stick. If you have too much stick drift and you have to move your dead zones really far up, then you might need a new controller, okay? If you have a new controller, you got to bum one, okay? You should not have stick drift off rip. So in the other video, this was set to default, which is 10. I also dropped this down. I actually caught this from Formal, watching one of his streams, in combination with the maximum dead zones and in combination with the last section of this video, which is going to be overclocking your new controller on your PC. All right, guys, in this section, we're going to talk about how to overclock your controller and why. So not many people realize when you plug in a controller into your PC stock, it comes out of the box with input delay. It has anywhere between a 4 and 6 millisecond input delay. If you plug it into a PC, it has that built-in 5 millisecond delay and an additional delay to configure it to Windows in whatever game that you're playing on. After a while, you get used to it, but it never really feels right. And I had my other controller overclocked already, and I got used to it. And I plugged I plugged my new Elite controller in, and I didn't overclock it yet. And I'm like, man, why does it feel so weird? I totally forgot to overclock my controller night and day, right? So I'll tell you a little story. We were playing off stream yesterday when I bought this controller with my boy Sean and my boy Josh, and they also have been playing on controller on PC for a while now, and they never overclocked their controller. So we did it, and I told them it's going to take a while to get used to because it's really responsive. First game, we all dropped 20s in ranked, and they were loving it. Sean said, this feels like it's supposed to feel. So if you guys haven't overclocked your controller and you're a PC player, this is going to help you guys out a ton. It'll make your controller way more responsive, and it'll maximize performance of your controller, which will help you guys improve in your game. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to click the link in the description down below. It'll be labeled overclock your controller here, and I'll have the link down below. And it should take you to this page. This website and the various links that you'll be clicking, they all, I've done them on my personal PCs. I've overclocked 2 of my controllers. I got this link from another YouTuber. A lot of people use the same link. So far, no issues. So if you don't want to do it, it's completely up to you. And I'm not saying that you won't have any issues, but I'm saying with my 2 controllers that I've used this for, I have not had any issues. Just a disclaimer in case you guys come, running with pitchforks. And the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna click this link here. Okay, it's the 3rd link down, HIDUSBF.zip. The one below that says BFN. You do not want the FN. Okay, just the BF zip. You're gonna click that guy. It's gonna take you to this page, and then you're gonna go ahead and click download. Once you download it, this is what it's gonna look like. Okay. What you're gonna do is on the top here, you're gonna hit extract all, and then you can extract it wherever you want, just to make it easy to find. I would just extract it to your desktop. Boom. Okay, and then hit extract. All right. So once you have it on your desktop, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on the folder that says driver, and then we're gonna launch the setup, and you want to launch it as administrator. So you're gonna right click, hit run as admin, and then this window is what's gonna pop up. The first thing you're gonna do is on this drop down, you're gonna go down to all, so you can show every single USB device connected. Okay, yours is gonna look a little bit different. My controller is labeled as Xbox One controller. Sometimes, like I remember my PlayStation controller was labeled something else. I think it was just USB device. So look for your controller. If you're not sure how to find yours, just unplug your controller and it'll disappear. And then once you plug it back in, it'll pop back up just like this. So a couple of things. You're gonna hover over the column that says child name on your controller. So mine says Xbox One. You're gonna hover over and click on the child name just to make sure this is selected. What you're gonna see is rate is gonna be default and filter is gonna be no. So here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna look like this. Okay, no default. I'm not gonna mess with mine because I already did mine, but just bear with me and follow these instructions very closely, okay? So first thing you're gonna do is make sure that the child name is highlighted. You're gonna hit install service. You may get a pop-up that says open, just click open, okay? The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna click the drop down, then you're gonna select 1000, and then you're gonna click install service again. And lastly, you're gonna hit filter on device, and then again, you're going to hit install service, okay? So you should hit install service a total of 3 times. And after that, you're pretty much done. Every time you plug in your device, it should pop up the way mine did. So make sure to test it, make sure you did it right. You're gonna unplug it, and then you're gonna plug it back in. Wait till it pops back up, and then boom, okay? Yours should read just like mine. Filter, yes. Polling rate, 1000, and then everything should be good to go. And just like that, you have a freshly overclocked controller. Whether you have a new controller or whether you have your current controller and haven't overclocked it, hop in a bots game, shoot some bots around, get used to it. It's gonna be night and day. It's gonna feel so responsive. You're gonna feel so snappy, and I promise your gameplay is gonna instantly improve because you have more control over your reticle and it's doing what you want. Make sure to click the link below or click the video below that explains how to optimize your controller settings. Everyone's controller settings are different, so use it for your controller, for your setup, for your eyes, the way you like your sensitivity. And then once you have those optimized, then you can really put your focus on what's important. Your awareness, your game sense, your movement, instead of having to worry about input delays and stuff like that. I hope this helps you improve your gameplay. Thank you so much for making it out this far. I really, really appreciate you guys. And don't forget, stay grateful and stay grinding. Peace.